Cardiovascular Institute of the South, providing our patients the highest quality cardiovascular care available.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And anytime we need updates from what's happening over in Assumption Parish, we look forward to talking with Commander Lonnie Cavalier. Commander Lonnie, thanks for joining us again today.
Hey, good afternoon, Keith. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. All right, let's start with what's happening with this aggravated burglary in Belrose. Seems like a lot of people involved in that one.
Yes, sir. We have Ariane Jalacia Davis, 19 of 6038, Highway 308, Donaldsonville. Calvin Patterson Jr., 112 Sugar Street, Pankaville. Central Franklin of 2362 71st Avenue, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And Alexis Monique McBride, 24 of 610 Orange Street, Donaldsonville, Louisiana, on felony charges related to an aggravated burglary. On April 6, 2025, deputies responded to a suspicious vehicle trespassing complaint in the 6,000 block of Highway 308 in Pankaville. That complaint led to a report burglary involving the theft of firearms, which occurred on Virginia Street south of Belrose. Detectives learned that the victim was set up to have several firearms stolen by the suspects. Through investigation, detectives determined that Ariane Jalacia Davis prearranged a meeting of personal nature with the victim, and in doing so, Davis continuously updated the other suspects throughout the incident leading up to the burglary of the same vehicle the victim and Davis were occupying. Investigation concluded that the remaining suspects approached the vehicle and completed the prearranged aggravated burglary of the suspects. The suspects fled the scene with the stolen firearms. As the investigation progressed, detectives secured arrest warrants for Ariane Jalacia Davis, Calvin Patterson Jr., Centrell Demond Franklin, Alexis Monique McBride, and DeAndre McBride. Ariane Jalacia Davis, Calvin Patterson Jr., Centrell Demond Franklin, and Alexis Monique McBride were all charged on counts of aggravated burglary and theft of firearms, 3 counts. Ariane Jalacia Davis remains incarcerated with bond set at $100,000. Calvin Patterson is incarcerated with his bond set at $100,000. Centrell Demond Franklin is incarcerated with bond set at $90,000, and Alexis Monique McBride remains incarcerated with bond set at $110,000. Detectives are seeking to arrest DeAndre McBride, 20 of 176 Blackwell Lane, Belrose, Louisiana, on charges of aggravated battery and theft of firearms, 3 counts.
Wow. We appreciate those updates, Commander. All right, tell us a little bit about this traffic stop with Mr. DeAndre Johnson.
Okay, DeAndre Marcus Johnson, 21 of 1227 West Penn Avenue, Gonzales, Louisiana, and Nathan Batiste, III, 37 and 138 Deville Village, Louisiana, were arrested on felony gun law violations arising from a traffic stop in the area of Highway 308 and Blackwell Lane, south of Belrose. A uniformed patrol deputy assigned to the ICE detail observed the vehicle with multiple equipment and licensing violations and attempted an investigative stop of the vehicle. The driver continued southbound on Highway 308, disregarding the deputy's attempt to stop him. The driver continued on and was eventually stopped at a residence on Blackwell Lane. The deputy comes back with the driver now as the Marcus Johnson and engaged Johnson in an officer violator interview. At some point of the investigation, the deputy approached the vehicle in an attempt to interview the passenger, now identified as Nathan Batiste III. As the deputy approached the vehicle, he noticed a firearm present inside of the vehicle. The deputy conducted a criminal records check of both DeAndre DeMarcus Johnson and Nathan Batiste and determined both to be convicted felons. As such, both Jackson and Batiste are prohibited by law from possessing a firearm. DeAndre DeMarcus Johnson was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of firearm by a convicted felon, a probation, flight from an officer, illegal window tint, improper display of license plate, no driver's license. DeAndre DeMarcus Johnson remains incarcerated with bond set at $80,000 on the gun law violation, started held without bond on probation violation. Nathan III was arrested and booked into the detention center, charged with possession of a felon and a probation violation. Nathan Batiste III remains incarcerated with his bond set at $75,000 on the gun law violation, and he as well was already held without bond on his probation violation.
And lastly, we have James Henry Cox with about a minute to go.
Yes, James Henry Cox Jr., 40 of 110 Jamie Court, Bayou, Louisiana, was arrested on charges arising from an ongoing narcotics investigation. As a result of that investigation, narcotics agents developed information indicating that James Henry Cox Jr. was trafficking in illegal narcotics. As the investigation progressed, agents developed probable cause sufficient to obtain a search warrant on a residence located at 110 Jamie Court. On Tuesday morning, deputies and agents converged on the residence for the purpose of executing the search warrant. And as a result of that search, a significant amount of illegal controlled dangerous substances were seized, assorted paraphernalia, and firearms as well. James Henry Cox arrested on charge of possession with intent to distribute cocaine, possession with intent to distribute sex, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, illegal weapons in the presence of controlled dangerous substances, and resisting an officer. James Henry Cox Jr. remains incarcerated with his bond set at $325,000.
Oh, Commander, I appreciate that. That's awfully fast. We appreciate all the hard work being done in Assumption, and thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, for having us. Y'all have a good Easter weekend.
Yes, sir. You as well. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.